Air masses are on the move as we see the arrival of an upcoming trough that's going to bring much cooler weather to the Great Lakes region. In this video, I'm going to talk about exactly how cold it's going to get, the potential for the first frost, and then also I'm going to get into the longer range models to see exactly what we can expect for the month of October. Hello everybody, the time is 4:42 p.m. and it is October 1st. Welcome to another Great Lakes weather. You can probably hear my voice is a lot deeper. I'm dealing with some hay fever as a result of the autumn season that's coming around and harvest season. So it's starting to feel that, but temperatures are really warm right now. In fact, Minnesota just saw their highest temperature ever recorded for October 1st since 1897. So we have some record-breaking heat out there farther west of us. We're probably not going to see record-breaking heat, but we are going to see temperatures that are very much abnormally warm across the Great Lakes region. That's going to continue at least through Wednesday before cooler weather arrives. That's what the video is going to focus on, just really the temperature progression and the potential for much cooler air that's going to be coming later this week. So let's jump right into it with the latest on the weather models. Again, Pivotal Weather's website is accessible to anyone who wants to take a look at the latest weather models, but this is the 500 millibar height anomaly. If you can see it right here, we have the currently a pretty strong ridge that's sitting over the northern parts of the United States, continental United States, and you can see it's really focused across parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan as well. If you go to the current time frame, which is about right here, you can see that that's really settling over the area. You get a sounding up in the Mackinac or peninsula, the Upper Peninsula. You can see temperatures are around 80 degrees there, which is very warm for this time of year. Average temperatures around this time of the year currently a range around the mid 60s, so it is definitely abnormally warm out there. Temperatures in the lower 80s as well in Minnesota. You go down into parts of southern Michigan and you can see temperatures are around the low to mid 80s. I'm looking at mine right now. Actually, the temperature appears cooler with temperatures in the 70s, but look at these dew points. Dew points are down in the upper 40s according to what the GFS model is showing. So it's still dry air, does not feel too uncomfortable. It's actually perfect air that you would expect around early September, I would assume, with this type of setup here. But you're going to see that that's going to change soon. It does kind of settle over our area throughout Tuesday and Wednesday. We also see that as well. But look over here, you can see that there is a air mass that's making its way and pushing this air mass finally out of the region. We've been dealing with a warm air mass for the past several days that has kept our temperatures rather nice. We've had some progressions of some low pressure systems here and there, but just to be replaced by warmer air. That's not going to be the case with this next system. This next system is going to bring a trough that's going to deepen over our area and is going to send our temperatures nosediving down into the 50s. So that fall air is definitely making its way into the Great Lakes region. You get a sounding. This is the morning on. Wait, let me see. This is 1 a.m. on Saturday. That's what this is showing right here across southern Michigan. Temperatures getting down into the low 40s, and that's probably going to get even colder as the time progresses. You can see that this trough sits over our area as we get into Saturday the 7th at 7 a.m. And see the temperature drops. The temperatures at 7 a.m. in Ohio are going to be in the low 40s. Dew points are going to range in the mid 30s. So some places I would not be surprised if they saw their first frost coming up pretty soon in parts of the region. Temperatures will only get into the low 50s if you're in the center of that trough region. That's going to kind of sit over our area for a bit before being replaced by yet again another warmer air mass looking possible according to the GFS model, with the troughs with the cooler air mass making its way back into our area once again later on near the middle of not this weekend, not this coming next weekend, but the following weekend. We see the potential for cooler air as well. Climate Prediction Center is hinting at that as well. You can see that right here with the potential between October 7th to 11th for below average temperatures. You can see that we are definitely in that below average region, particularly across parts of southern Ohio is included in that. You also kind of have some lower chances for below average, but still there for, we are going to sit in many different cases around average. Average temperature again is around 60 degrees. We're getting close to that point. So we're not going to be too below average here, but the closer below average temperatures will be around southern Ohio. So that's what is being shown here according to the latest from the Climate Prediction Center. Now let's take a look at exactly how our temperatures are going to be influenced. But first of all, let's take a look at the movement of air in the upper levels as well around those troughs. Now, usually we connect these to the potential for some decent severe weather potential. And now I can't really make a conclusion as to whether we're going to see severe weather from this or not. It's likely we're not going to see severe weather, mainly because we're not going to have as much moisture in the atmosphere, and the timing of this of the upcoming storm later this week does not look to be ideal for stronger thunderstorms. So timing does actually appear to be too early for the arrival of this thing. So it's really hard to make a determination as to what we will be seeing. It's likely we're just going to see decent bit of rain from this come Thursday. So that's the thing to keep in mind. You notice that the upper level winds are very sharply cutting around this trough here as it comes into the area. So it's just something to watch out for, and keep in mind that there could be something, especially with the warmer air that's going to be out ahead of this. We're just going to have to watch carefully for the upcoming models to see exactly what could take place. So not ruling it out fully just yet, but it doesn't look super likely. So that's just something to keep watch for, but it doesn't look like an ideal scenario for severe weather. Here's the temperatures that were currently projected by the GFS model. Now you can see the temperatures in the afternoons. Look how warm it gets down in parts of Arkansas, even up into parts of Minnesota. You're getting temperatures close to 9 degrees according to some of the latest models on this for Monday. That is extremely warm air for this time of the year up in that region. We've had that in the past. Several years ago, we had it down in southern Ohio where temperatures were in the mid-90s. That set some records. That was a couple years ago. This year, looks like we're not going to see that intense of heat, but temperatures do rise up into the mid-80s, it looks like, but prior to the arrival of this cold front. And you can see that cold front really sends our temperatures diving down. And then by Friday, we have temperatures in the 60s, still in the 70s across parts of Ohio, but then you see it really starts to surge in to our area. By Saturday, temperatures going to stick in the 50s. I would not be surprised to see some lake effect rain showers on the menu for Michigan and parts of northern Indiana on Saturday, particularly because the water temperatures are still in the mid 60s right now, and that will likely lead to a little bit of instability in parts of the lake. So that's just another thing to keep in mind as well. But really looks like the potential for frost is a little bit low, because temperatures are going to settle across the region, the upper 30s. Okay, it looks like some places might see some patchy frost here and there across Indiana and Ohio. Michigan, I think, is going to have a less likely potential at seeing some frost as a result of the lake keeping things a little bit warmer in the region. But again, that's just something to watch out for later model runs. Could bring some cooler air. We'll have to see what happens. And then you see the arrival of that warmer air mass once again. In fact, temperatures are going to get into the 90s again across parts of the southern United States, all the way up into Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, according to the GFS model. And then you have temperatures getting back up close to 70 near the end of, not this week, but next week. And then that's again getting into the long range. We can't really fully determine that just yet, but there's still a couple things to just watch out for as this continues to update over the next several days. So watching for potential for two different cooling opportunities, especially the end of this week. This one's pretty much going to happen, pretty clearly going to happen according to the models. And then also the following week, the potential for another cooling trend to occur. Now let's actually take a look at what we are expecting in weather. So again, this is Thursday. You can see that there's some rain going across northern Michigan Thursday morning. Now the question is, how is this going to evolve over the course of Thursday? Because again, the models are not really getting the timing down with this, and also are showing some pretty weak instability. Not looking at very strong instability with this setup. You can see the cloud bases are also pretty elevated too. Not much helicity not much spin in the atmosphere with this, despite the fact that we do have strong upper level support. We don't have that low level support, but you don't really have much directional shear present with this storm setup. So that's part of the reason why it doesn't really look like a very decent setup. Again, the lack of instability and the lack of directional shear present with this. But again, models can change. We'll have to wait and see how things evolve with this. And then you can see that low pressure system gets moved through, and then look at that. Remember this 540 line? That's something we'd like to watch for when winter comes around, for the potential for a transition to snow. Now, we're not expecting any snow with this, but you do see the models are hinting at that lake effect rainfall possible, especially during the night on Saturday night or Friday night. And you can see that trough keeping things nice and cool. Hey, look, Canada's starting to get some snow according to what the models are showing later on. Now, you're probably not excited about that unless you're a snow lover. We still got several weeks before our first snow potential. Let's go closer to a more regional graphic here. Let's back it up. Again, this is Sunday. As we get into about Wednesday, you can see that cold front's starting to really show up about in the plains a little bit, and then it's going to continue to progress eastward. And then you can see that the timing does appear to be around early Thursday morning. That's not good timing if you're looking for a decent setup for storms. So it really doesn't look like a strong storm setup. Again, the Cape, the instability is going to be minimal. Right now, it does not look like anything halfway decent. So that's just thing to keep in mind. As you get to Thursday afternoon, you do see the development of a few showers and thunderstorms. The storm relativity does increase, but the Cape values, again, are still quite low, and there's little to no surface Cape, which, again, is something that is really necessary for those storms to really take off and evolve into more stronger storms. So keep in mind that the threat for severe weather appears low, but again, there are a few locations that are hinting at a marginal severe potential as the afternoon goes on. Particularly if you are in northern Indiana, you're seeing a marginal severe sounding here. Low cloud bases, high cloud tops. Storm relativity begins to increase. The pickup of some instability as you got that daytime heating going on, and you do have a little bit of surface Cape there that could trigger off a few thunderstorms. Might be an isolated severe storm across Indiana during the day. I wouldn't be surprised to see eastern Indiana, northwestern Ohio maybe be placed under a marginal risk for severe storms associated with this cold front that's going to be moving through. But again, I showed you that model where the upper level wind support was pretty high. That's something that could contribute to development of thunderstorms, especially when it adds a little bit of instability. So that's something I'm watching out for. We'll have to see how the latest model trends depict this, but that's what is currently showing up. Make sure to subscribe and stay updated. We'll be providing updates, especially if the threat looks a little bit more robust. Timing is likely to change with this setup according to what the models are saying. So just stay tuned for that, and get ready because temperatures are going to cool down at the end of this week. So stay warm.